Network, 99.5 FM, and WBAI.org online. Stay tuned now for Take Charge of Your Health. It is 4 p.m.
Hi, this is Take Charge of Your Health with Corrine Fernari, clinical nutritionist, physician assistant, and Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Listen, learn, and I hope you enjoy the show. Bye.
Welcome back. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corrine Fernari, clinical nutritionist and physician assistant, and my co-host, Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Every week, we present you with new and creative ways to help you make sense of health information and bring it home to you and your family. With years of clinical experience between us and research into traditional and cutting-edge technologies, we give you practical information to help you take charge of your health.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm here. I'm Corrine Fernay. I'm here with my co-host,
Carol Peterson.
And Carol, here we are. I'm looking out the window and it's all white and beautiful. And, but everybody I'm running into and everybody that's calling me, what is happening is that they're all sniffling and coughing and stomach ache, and it seems to be that time of year. So I thought we would return and go back and just go over some of the basics because this doesn't need to happen. Carol, did you take your flu shot this year?
Are we going to jump right into that?
We're just gonna dive. Hey, why tiptoe around? We'll start there and then we'll go into preventive care and then we'll go into treatment.
Okay,
So, but we'll do a short thing on vaccines.
So, unlike other vaccines, we get a new one every year for the flu vaccine. And the WHO has been doing this, recommending a so-called strain, or what it actually is some kind of collection with DNA
particles
that are created in computers, not extracted, and that's a strain or strains. They might have multi-strain, so they make up these vaccines, and we don't have any proof when we get started that the so-called collection of DNA particles that they're suggesting either have caused the flu for sure, or if they actually do any good. It's a crapshoot.
Even if, or that whether they correspond to the existing virus or contagion that's running around in the community. Even the CDC says 40 to 60% of the time they don't correlate. So here we are taking a virus or taking a vaccine to stimulate our immune system from a non-existing virus or contagion. And so what do you think about that?
Right, they don't. No regional testing done of any sort. Then they grow it on egg protein when they're trying to make a culture. And a good deal of people have an egg sensitivity, and this is very old technology. I understand they may have, or may not have, I don't know, they may have incorporated mRNA technology now, I'm not sure. And that's the kind of technology that created the COVID stuff. And in fact, when they decide on something in February for the next winter, a lot of things may have changed. And the the authority over all these vaccines is sadly lacking. Anything that gets a designation as a vaccine, you cannot go back to the manufacturer and
And
sue
question them.
or question even for side effects. So
And
this is the only thing that usually with the FDA and everything, you have to go through a strict drug approval process, and this takes time, and there has to be a benefit of evidence before you can get approval, and not
no,
in the vaccine world. There are also no placebos. If they test it at all, you
well,
should have a placebo group and an active vaccine and a placebo vaccine that would be like salt water or something, and show that this creation of yours actually made any difference. And
well, we
none of
really,
this
that
is
becomes
done.
very difficult because we don't really know at the time we're creating the vaccine what the people in our hemisphere is going to be exposed to. So, so what happens is we can't have a placebo. It becomes a problem. So, what do we do? Why don't we talk about prevention?
Okay,
Because
I want to jump right to vitamin D if we can.
I'd love to.
Okay, so
Vitamin D is the base. Go on,
absolutely.
Carol.
So I
Excuse
have
me.
just been reading Jeff Bowles, our
Oh, wait,
friend Jeff Bowles.
just
We've
1 second. Let me just say, we'd love you to join the conversation. You can join it in two ways. One, you can call 212 ah 28. What's the number? You got to help me out.
All
I
right. With
gotta
Corinne,
Yes,
Carol, the number is 212-209-2877.
thank you.
212-209-2877. Or you can go on YouTube and type out your question, and we will get that live and we will respond online. So 212-209-2877. I went into a total blank. Go on. Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. So Jeff Bowles, who's been on our program a few times now, has written a new book called The Winter Gene. And the premise of the book that almost all or all diseases known to mankind, including the flu, is a vitamin D deficiency. And he said when vitamin D gets low, it's our signal to go into a hibernation state in which we have absolutely no resilience to anything. And it's quite an elegant book. I recommend it highly, and I think we should bring him on and talk about this book. But the long and the short of it is very generous dosing of vitamin D is going to really protect you from this less resilient state that you can go into with low vitamin D. So Jeff Bowles actually recommends some quite generous dosing of vitamin D, like 25,000, 50,000. Even folks have used 100,000 a day. This is when our recommended daily allowance is what? Is it 600 international units, I think. So just the wide breadth of what's the right thing. But Jeff
Now, when
also I want to stick this in first. Jeff also warns that if you're using higher doses of vitamin D, you absolutely must have plenty of
magnesium,
magnesium. Got it.
very important,
Yep. So, what
and
would you
vitamin K.
recommend? Yes.
Well, I
And
recommend for prevention. See, what happens is when most people in the middle of the winter come in and I take their blood for vitamin D levels, I get uh, a 2,000 and what we really want is a 50,000 to 80,000. And so so I get, I'm sorry, a 20,000.
oh,
What we
I think
really
you're
want is a 50,000 to 80,000,
okay.
which
I
is a
think you work in other units that I usually say it's usually like 30 is bare minimum, up to 80 or 90
okay.
for the vitamin D levels. So that's how I
So,
usually say. So you've got a multiplier in the units you've been seeing, maybe,
okay,
because the numbers are the same. But
I'm sorry.
it's not unusual to see somebody around 30, 20. Once I was
Very common.
I was at a conference in the city, and a woman I was talking to said she just measured her vitamin D level, and it was 10.
I
I,
I had a pregnant woman that came in and her vitamin D level was 7.
oh my God. Are you
Oh
trying
my
to beat
goodness.
me?
So what? So those are levels we don't want to see. And more than that, they're not necessary. So when we're dealing in prevention, I you can build your levels up with 5,000 to 10,000 international units a day. And your target is 50 to 80, at least the way I see it, 50 to 80.
Yeah.
When you go up into those ranges, you're in a level that's preventive. It's preventive in terms of flus and colds, but it's also preventive in terms of it supports you in cases of breast cancer, prostate cancer. It's a very important pro hormone vitamin that supports your blood cells to be able to fight any viruses or intruders. But just like Bull said that everything is vitamin D, I was at a conference many years ago, and what I was told by Dr. Cathcart that every disease that you see, from a flu, there's a certain dose of vitamin C. You need a certain dose of vitamin C. And since it's water soluble, you need to break up that dose and take it throughout the day. When you get to more serious diseases, there's another dose. And he had a whole list of diseases and naming off the doses of vitamin C. And then he said, and for Ebola, this is the amount, because this was at a time quite a few years ago when Ebola was the big boogeyman disease going around. So what happens is that vitamin C works with the white blood cells again to stimulate their resistance. So you want a regular amount of vitamin C as a prevention. You want from 2,000 to 5,000, 6,000 a day, but in divided doses. If you take it all at once, what happens is the body can only utilize a certain amount, and in that certain amount, um, the rest just gets excreted through the urine because it's water soluble. But when
Could
you
be
take a little
violently.
bit, yeah, you take a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and your body can take it up and utilize it, and your immune system can utilize it.
Okay,
Carol?
so I want to jump. This is a book a long ago was written by Linus Pauling, and it was using vitamin C to get rid of colds. I think we should talk a minute about what's the difference between colds and flu. And I want to add that Linus Pauling, for a good part of his life, took about 30,000 milligrams of vitamin C and lived
Daily.
well, yeah, daily, and lived well into his 90s. So he was doing something right, I guess. So what about the difference? How do you characterize the difference between a cold and the flu?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm not clear on that. I know
Uh,
intensity. The
okay,
flu is
in
much more intense.
yes,
It's in the mucous membranes, but so can the cold be.
right, in the respiratory system. However, the flu is characterized by extreme fatigue and also by major aches and pains
Oh,
in the
yes.
muscles and joints. So the colds also can have some respiratory, but you get things like runny nose, cough, and it's relative to the intensity of the flu, it is much, much less uncomfortable.
Yes, and we all know the difference. We got someone wrote in a question. How much time equivalent to 50,000 of D? How long does it take to build up? I think that's what I understand the question is. And vitamin D, since it's fat soluble, it doesn't go up fast. I mean, like vitamin C goes up very fast, but it also doesn't come down fast. It takes about 8 weeks to build your dose because it's fat soluble, and it goes into the fat cells and is absorbed into the individual cells. So you can be taking high doses this week and take your bloods and say, well, nothing happened, it's not working. But that's not true at all. It's building.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it
where
builds
do
up
we go
slowly.
next? We did D and C. How about I
Oh, I want
love
to do vitamin C. There's a quality of vitamin C that not everybody realizes, and it's a strong antihistamine. And the cold has these histamine-like qualities. A runny nose, leaky
yes, the
nose
runny nose, the
is
itchy
a
eyes.
right, right, exactly. So that's histamines involved in that, and vitamin C is a strong antihistamine. So I've often used, those effervescent packets of vitamin C. Use 3, 4 of them at a time, just to get a quick relief from a runny nose. I'm looking for that antihistamine effect.
The vitamin C with quercetin can give you some of that antihistamine, or vitamin C with rutin can give
Yes.
you that. Also, very which rutin is a bioflavonoid. So those can be very effective. And the packet that you're talking, there's the packets that you can take, but then there also is for that histamine effect. Sometimes very very effective is Alka-Seltzer Gold. And what is that? That's a bicarb,
Sodium
vitamin
bicarb.
C, and and
Is
does it
there
have
vitamin
calcium
C
in
in
it?
there? I
Oh,
didn't
it's
know.
got
It could have a calcium carbonate, but it's an alkalizer. And we've talked about sodium bicarb as an alkalizing agent before. And there is a cold remedy with sodium bicarb, and it goes like this. You take 1/2 teaspoon of sodium bicarb in 6 to 8 ounces of water, and you do this every 2 hours for 6 times the first day, and then you go down by 1 time each succeeding day. And I have to say, I tried this in the last 9 months or so. One day I had a sore throat, so I started with the sodium bicarb, and a piece of mucus loosened itself in my throat, and I coughed it up, gone, sore throat gone. Then the second time was coming from my chest. I was trying to go, I go, uh-oh. And I said, this feels like it's going to turn up to one of those colds that travel up to your head. With every day you're going to get worse and worse. And I did the same, sodium bicarb. I think I might have gone to 2 doses only. Coughed up some mucus, end of the whole thing. I loved it. It's drama. It's fun. So when you are sick with just about anything, your body is too acidic. And this is one of the ways, and this works through your carbon dioxide levels in the blood. And your blood is supposed to be alkaline, slightly alkaline. So it helps relieve the symptoms of this excess acidity. So it can be very, very important. And alka cells are good. That's a good recommendation for doing that as well.
well, we just got in a fight with Perplexity. It was a knockdown, drag 'em out fight because when we typed in bicarb, it said there's no proof that baking soda can help in any way, any infection. So we're in the middle of the fight. We'll tell you the results. We'll tell you the winner next week.
All right. So the scientific method requires N of 1 studies. So people have to try it out and see if it does anything for them. And if
Exactly.
if it works, it's a positive. If nothing happens, it's a negative. So if you
That
want to report at our YouTube page, please do.
and it's a cost of what is the cost over a 2 or 3 day period would be 15-20 cents or something like
Yep,
that at
yep.
the max.
At the
So let's
max.
go to iodine. And the one that we recommend, or very often we recommend because it's very readily available, is Lugol's iodine. And what does it do? It supports the mucosal immune defense. Now, what happens with iodine is no known bacteria or virus can build resistance to it because it immediately kills on contact bacteria, virus, fungus, so it doesn't have time to build resistance. It's a very powerful and effective immune support.
There used to be, probably still is, a prescription iodine called SSKI, saturated
Hmm.
solution
It still is.
potassium iodide.
Hmm.
And what it was known for, that mucus that gets so tight in your chest, it actually, using the SSKI, will help that liquefy so you can get that out of your lungs. So it's called a secretagogue. It helps
Exactly.
create secretions in your lungs which get out the heavy mucus.
It helps secretions throughout the whole body. I use iodine sometimes when there's cysts in the parotid gland right underneath the jaw. I put iodine there and it thins the and releases the discharge that's been building up. It does two things. It kills if there's any infection there, but it also creates a drainage in that gland. So sometimes they can be very pesky and a big problem. I also use it on boils and even on cysts, on young people when they have facial cysts, and you put it on, and in you put it on at night, and not every time, but with regularity. The next day it'll burst and drain, and there'll be no scarring either. On a boil, it takes a day or two to soak in, kill the bacteria that's causing the boil, and if lucky, that'll burst and drain also with no scarring, which is quite wonderful.
Pretty wonderful, but let's move into nebulizing with iodine.
Well, let's finish this one
Oh,
first because
okay.
this is nebulizing is more treatment. I want to finish the
Oh,
protective protocol,
prevention. Okay, okay.
prevention. So there's another one, zinc. Now, people think that if they take zinc every day, large amounts of zinc every day, they're going to protect themselves um, from colds and flus. But zinc really isn't a protector. Zinc works very directly with active cold or flu, and it helps T cell function. And what it does is it reduces the time of the cold or the flu by 1 to 3 days. And that's been well studied. It's not, but if you're taking high dose zinc all winter long, you're going to create a serious imbalance. You could feel nauseous. You could uh, generally nauseous. If you're spraying zinc nasally, you could end up damaging the gentle tissue on mucous membrane on the nasal cavity and permanently lose your sense of smell. So you don't want to be taking zinc high dose all
Excessively.
day, every day. You can create a copper deficiency by doing that.
That's right. I'd like to insert into here during the COVID times where people were coming up with loss of smell loss of taste. These are zinc deficiency signs, as you mentioned it. And then all the things that we were using, like ivermectin and colchicine came up, and I'm just losing the one with the, you can make it with orange peels. It was
Orange peels. Hydro
hydroxychloroquine. There, I had to
Okay.
get at it through tonic water. Tonic water, people were drinking tonic water for the quinine, and azithromycin was given out. There was one common thing with all these things that were suggested for helping treat this, and all of them were zinc ionophores. And this means these
It's
molecules shuttled
draining.
zinc inside the
Ah,
cell.
uh-huh.
So I thought that was so cool. Every time somebody would say like colchicine, I said colchicine. I go to the internet and I would say colchicine and zinc, and there it was, zinc ionophore. Amazing. So zinc, as you point out, is very critical for prevention and even treatment.
Yes, and very much so. And that's what we saw with that heavy chronic COVID that was going around. But then there are other things that we can do very, activated B vitamins, essential for allowing our body to detox, to absorb B vitamins, B6, B12, folate, and those are activated forms. Selenium, another essential mineral, and magnesium for enzymatic support. So we don't want to forget those. We don't want to forget the basics. But then there is a very direct and aggressive intervention um, that I learned from Dr. Brownstein, and he was right in the middle of things, working very, very hard um, to cure people of COVID and influenza. But he had a very aggressive 4-day protocol, and that was vitamin A, but it wasn't beta carotene; it was retinol. Because when you're in an acute flu, you can't convert. It interferes with your ability to convert beta carotene to retinol. And when you're using retinol, what happens is it protects the mucous membrane. But he had a protocol where you took 50,000 to 100,000 international units a day, but only for 4 days, and he was getting very good results. He also did vitamin D3, and he did 50,000 international units a day, again, for 4 days. This is a 4-day protocol. Then he did vitamin C bowel tolerance, and that was 1,000 milligrams per hour until the induction of loose stools. And when you hit that point, you backed off for 2 hours, and then you started up again, but you went every hour and a half, so that you were reducing the amount, you were taking the pressure off the stool, but you were getting that high dose vitamin C that was being chelated into your bloodstream. And then there was zinc acetate, and that was 75 milligrams a day in divided doses. And it's very important. He preferred the lozenges. The lozenges are interesting. Remember the zinc chelate drink that they used to give, Carol? Maybe still do?
Are you thinking about zinc tally?
Yes.
Okay,
You
I think that one was zinc sulfate, and
uh-huh.
it's a standardized solution, and you can take a teaspoon of this, and if you don't taste anything, you need zinc. But if it tastes unpleasant, Or as you were talking about before, if a zinc supplement makes you nauseous, you've got plenty. You shouldn't taste it. It's wonderful, simple technology. So doctor's offices would have this bottle. They could test anybody for their zinc status anytime.
And that's a very important point, excuse me, for your body acts as the moderator of the amount of zinc that your body needs. But then there was another piece of this, and this was a game changer. Do you want to talk about it, Carol?
What
Or
was it?
sorry, the nebulizer.
Okay,
Du-
the
I've
nebulizer.
got the protocol here if you want it.
Okay, well, the nebulizer, and you can buy these on. I've bought some at a site on the internet, but you can buy these at pharmacies. Prescriptions might be
Very
needed in some
available.
case, but often no prescription is needed. And you can get these tiny travel ones. I've got a big old honking one from my husband's office, but these tiny little things you can easily set up, and you use about a teaspoonful of fluid, and there's a rapid little motor that puts these into tiny,
Saline.
tiny droplets. So go ahead and say what's the protocol for the stuff you put in the
Um,
nebulizer.
Normal saline, 2 teaspoons or 10 cc's. 2 drops of Lugol's iodine, which I do 2.5 milligram of units of Lugol's iodine, and then 2 drops of 3% pharmaceutical grade hydrogen peroxide. And you put it in the nebulizer in the little cup and you inhale it. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes to inhale the whole thing. And what is happening, since the virus is a respiratory virus, it's up in the nasal area, it's active in the throat and the mouth, and going into your lungs. What is happening is that the iodine is touching it and literally killing it. And the hydrogen peroxide is doing 2 things. It's supporting the iodine, but it's also activating your white blood cells to be more aggressive. And it also has an immediate kill factor without damaging your own cells, because our cells make hydrogen peroxide. And so they're set up, our white blood cells make hydrogen peroxide. So they're set up with an enzyme called catalase that instantly breaks down hydrogen peroxide. So it doesn't burn our own cells, but viruses, cancer cells, bacteria, and fungus have no catalase. So they have no defense from this treatment. So what
You're
happens
you're
is,
you're spot on. That particular thought that you just provided with is really important. This particular idea carries all the way up into cancer treatments as well. Um, Catalase and hydrogen peroxide, and how the other abnormal cells can't break this down either. So that's how the hydrogen peroxide works. Kind of cool.
that's
It's
why ozone treatments work.
exactly.
They, which ozone is O3, another form of activated oxygen. So what you have there is, when you breathe in, you're moisturizing, which is important because very often when you're having the flu or the cold, um, your mucous membrane dries out. When it dries out, it cracks. When it cracks, it allows open entry of the virus or the bacteria into the body. And guess what? I knew it would happen, and I'm so glad it happened early. We have a caller, 212-209-2877. And thank you, Reggie. Hi, you're live. Your name, please?
James.
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
James. How are
James.
you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Great. How can we
When
help
you were
you?
talking earlier about measuring vitamin D, you weren't talking about uh, measuring the actual units, right? I think you were talking about measuring something else uh,
Serum.
The the
S-
amount
in milliliters.
in the
In the
serum.
serum.
I'm sorry, what?
The amount in the serum, your blood.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm talking about in the blood, but I'm saying you weren't actually talking about measuring the units in the blood, were you?
No, no.
What were you talking about measuring?
Nanograms per milliliter in the blood.
Right. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is, where can you get that recipe for the nebulizer?
I will put it up on two places. All right, I'll give it to Carol. Carol can put it up. I will put it on my website, and we can put it up on Take Charge of Your Health Radio, and we can have it up by the end of the day.
Dr. McCullough also recommended the nebulizer with the peroxide.
Well, Dr. McCullough, just like we did, got the protocol from Dr.
David.
Brownstein, but also Dr. Schallenberger recommends the same protocol.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your calling.
Yeah. Corinne,
212-209-2877. Carol?
did you ever nebulize silver solution for this?
No, I never did, but I never had a need to because this formula is so effective that it just knocks it out for me. I had a person who called me who was an older gentleman, and they were having serious problems with the COVID. And he was working holistically. He was doing oral glutathione and all these wonderful therapies. But he also had hypertension. He had diabetes controlled. So he was spot on, ready to a serious contender for a serious problem. And he had had COVID for about 3 weeks. So I was when I met him, I was very concerned about him. So we started him on this protocol, and his wife said, how come you know the treatment? How do you know the treatment and nobody else does? We've been going to 2, 3 holistic doctors and nobody else has the treatment. I said, well, if you want to work with me, it's okay. If not, I won't mind. You can, you know. So the husband called back and says, I want to work with you instantly. She hangs up the phone. The husband called back. He did the treatment. And the next morning, now I was worried, because
Yeah.
I know he's in very
Precarious.
precarious. The
Yeah.
next morning, she answered the phone. She says, it's a miracle. He's breathing. This is the first time in 3 weeks he's breathing easily. So then they stopped doing it. And I called up and I said, hey, let's not take a chance here. Just keep it going till even you're well.
Yeah.
So we have 2 other callers.
Oh,
Please
awesome.
hold on. We'll get right to you. We're going to take the first caller. Hi. You're live. Your name, please?
Hello, is that me?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Huariqua. You ladies provoke a lot of questions. You give
I hope so.
information. So, first thing, how do you spell Jeff's last name? Is it B like balloon?
Yes,
Well,
like a bowl, like a mixing bowl.
And the rest of it?
And then
E-O?
yes.
Carol, you're coming in I can barely hear you. I heard Corinne all right.
Let me come over close to the microphone.
that's better.
like mixing bowl, and then ES.
Say that
Jeff,
again. B-O like
Spell it.
and
BOWLES.
L-E-S?
Yes,
Bowls. Oh, okay.
bowls.
I got that. Now, he also mentioned about the importance of taking magnesium, and you didn't get into in detail what that would mean, depending if you're taking 5,000 units of vitamin D, and also what form of vitamin D do you recommend? In capsule, in a powder, or what?
Could be either. Magnesium, coming from Jeff Bowles, but others. Magnesium, 1,000 milligrams per day. Most of
Minimum.
the minimum. We are magnesium deficient. So when you look at your supplement, let's say it's magnesium glycinate, it will have
250 or 125. Go on.
yeah, and then they'll
Sorry.
have another lower number to tell you what part of that molecule was the magnesium. So if you're counting up to 1,000, you need that lower number. And if your label doesn't say, go to Google and say, how much elemental magnesium and magnesium glycinate, say 500 milligrams, and it'll tell you how much.
And then, and how do you relate that to the amount of vitamin D that you're taking?
You don't.
Ratio.
No ratios.
No?
Everybody's magnesium deficient, and this goes a long way to help. And you should not be taking high doses of vitamin D without the magnesium protection. Okay, what kind of you want? For most part, you want vitamin D3. You can do it in capsules.
Right.
There are creams, there are drops, all sorts of products. And how much you might need to check your laboratory on that sometimes, because you don't actually feel where it is.
A deficiency.
You can walk around, like Corinne mentioned her patient, at 7 when you really want to be at 80, 90 even. That's a big way to go. So you may want to use these higher doses till you get there, and maybe just back down when you're there, and maybe you can use a little bit lower maintenance. The other thing is, in the winter, is we get some vitamin D through our skin in the summer, but preciously not enough. And the older you are, the skin doesn't do it as well. So this
it doesn't convert.
Yep, big problem. Yeah. So in the winter, you should bump up your vitamin D even.
Always, no matter what, you should always bump up your vitamin D in the winter. Go on.
I've heard him talk about Caroline Dean's magnesium, which is like a sustaining, it goes throughout the day.
Yeah.
Forget the term that you use when you have something that...
sustained release. No, sustained release he's talking about. And Caroline Dean has some ionic magnesium supplements. Caroline Dean, as you brought her up, she's a magnesium expert, and her book is just excellent on magnesium.
Right. Now, the Lugol, when my family some years back, we were very fortunate to have a family physician, Dr. Majid Ali, and I was
oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's very fortunate.
We were able to get the Lugol's iodine through him and stuff. But then I understand that now, do you need to have a prescription to get the Lugol?
No, Lugol's 2% is available and easily purchased.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
2%.
You could go online and order it. You can even get 5%.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It is available.
All right. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. Hi, you're live. Your name, please. You're on.
Caller, that's you. Speak at any time.
Oops.
Look like we lost that caller.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thanks, Reggie.
the number to call 212-209-2877, and we'll be glad to take your call. We really want you. It's people who listen to this show and listen to this radio station, they're curious. They're wanting information. And this is important information on prevention for you, but also for your whole family, for your community, to be able to understand this. There's so much prevention here, so much information and how to deal with this. Oh, here we've got some more callers. Hi, you're live. Your name, please? You know what? I can hear someone speaking, but I can't hear you. You're going to have to talk
Caller, speak
directly
into the
into the
phone.
phone.
Hello,
Hi, your name, please?
my name is Bob,
Hi,
and
Bob.
I want to say hello. I've been on and off for most of my life, a significant vitamin taker, so to speak. I did notice that for years I would still get a cold, but when I up one vitamin D component, that seems to have disappeared. So I think you've covered most of this. I've been listening to most of this show, but could you just give us an overall regimen that would be the best to protect the immune system? And one specific question: it was suggested to me that a high dose vitamin D should not be taken without vitamin K, because the vitamin K will protect you against apparently the stiffening of the arteries that a high dose of vitamin D can take. Is there a reality to that question? And then more generally, can you give an ongoing basic immune support with the emphasis on vitamin D to prevent your seasonal colds?
That's a tall order, Bob.
Why not? You got the
So,
right people.
okay. So, where should we begin? We should begin with, as a daily dose for prevention, 5,000 up to 10,000 a day. What
Vitamin
happens is
D.
of
But
vitamin D. What happens is that, and this is essential, is that certain people don't absorb vitamin D as well as others. The only way you know this, because you don't feel the difference, is by doing a blood test and testing your levels. If your levels are very low, you need to double your amount. And then 8 weeks later, take another blood test, because it takes that long to really show up in your blood. So that's number one. Number two, vitamin K. Vitamin K is essential. Vitamin K is like vitamin D allows minerals to be absorbed. Without vitamin D, you're not going to absorb minerals. Your vitamin D is low, you're not going to, you can take enough magnesium, you're not going to get it in. You can take enough calcium, you're not going to get it in. You're not going to get your minerals into your body. But if you've got a high amount of D, the minerals come flooding in. Where do they go? Vitamin K is what you'd call the triager. It directs the minerals, it directs the nutrients to where they need to go in the body, which is not inside the veins and arteries and or inside the joints. It's in the bones, it's in the different organs, it's all over. So vitamin K is essential. Now, Carol, what would you call a base level of vitamin K that you would recommend?
oh,
That
that's really interesting.
that's
I'm
a
taking
trick question.
That's a trick question. I'm taking very generous amounts because I learned at a conference that vitamin K can act the same way that coenzyme Q10, and the
Oh, yes.
recommendation from this practitioner was vitamin K2 was much less expensive and will pretty
That
much be the cardioprotective effectiveness of CoQ10. Now, having said that, you can find supplements with K2 all the way up to 45 milligrams. In Japan, 45 milligrams of K2 is the recommended dose. And when you are getting supplements of K2, I notice that we generally, if we have combinations, we have some very, very low K2 in there, like micrograms, maybe 200 micrograms, 100 micrograms. So,
100, 150. That's
so
the standard.
it is. So the question is that enough? It might not be enough. And I'd like to put in here too, if you're doing vitamin D and vitamin K2, you also need to put vitamin A in the mix because the action of those other two will use up your vitamin A and create a vitamin A deficiency in the absence of supplementation.
So, fat soluble vitamins. There was one company, I can't say names, but it's a very old company that they had ACEs, ACED, but they didn't have
ACEs,
K. At that time, they
no.
didn't have K in it, but they always had that. It's
And
called ACEs.
I think the S was selenium, was it not? So it was immune boost.
It was a beautiful formula, very
Yeah,
good. You just add a separate K. Now, the
yeah.
45 milligram wasn't just a standard dose, it was for people with osteoporosis. But what we're seeing, and I just saw a study of this, is that women going into menopause in this country have a very significantly high incidence of osteopenia going into osteoporosis. So, with that said, the D, the magnesium, the K, and now the A are essential to maintain
Boron
and
too.
build bone.
Boron.
Pardon?
You
And
need
boron.
boron.
Essential to maintain and build bones in females, but also in males, because we're seeing
Can I come back?
osteopenia in males also. So, thank you
Can
for
I
your
come back to
call,
you? Can I
and
come
we'll
back to my original question regarding vitamin K? Is there a reality that failure to take it could result in the stiffening of the arteries? And just a related separate question, is magnesium not also a transport for other supplements, or am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. Like I like to use large amounts of progesterone, and you need tons of magnesium as a
oh my
cofactor for
goodness.
progesterone as well.
You you know what? We're getting
Right.
I'm so into this. We're getting to the last of our show. We've got 2 more minutes. So thank you for your call. And I don't think we have time for another person, do we? 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
We're cutting it close.
yeah, it would be have to be really quick, and I know how you answer your questions, and it would be
Oh,
very elaborate. Even the most condensed is pretty elaborate. So I guess the answer is no.
thank you, Reggie.
Thank you, Reggie. Keen
Yeah.
observer.
keeping us honest. So what we're going to say is prevention is priceless. What's better, prevention or cure? It's really wonderful to have a protocol in place so you don't have to deal with cure. But we will put this protocol with the nebulizer up, but we'll put both protocols up. We'll put the prevention and the treatment protocol up, and talk with your healthcare practitioner, with someone you're working with, and see how this fits you and suits you. Carol, what's your
Oh,
website?
my website is thewellnessbydesignproject.com, and I have a YouTube channel with the same title. And we have a Facebook page for the station. Take Charge of Your Health with Corrine and Carol. And I have a Facebook page too for the Wellness by Design Project. And Corrine?
I have CorrineHealth.com is my website. My Facebook is Corrine Fernari, PACCN, and we have our combined Take Charge of Your Health Facebook page. So I think that's pretty much everything. Thank you, Reggie, for your help. Thank you, Jeremy, for your help. And thank you, audience. We really appreciate that you're so curious and involved in your own health. It'll pay you back 1,000 times. Thanks, Carol. When we're together, I always learn.
I love that, Corinne. I learned too. And our audience teaches us too.
Definitely. And
Thank-
we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.